Hello there. Thanks for joining me this Tuesday. I'm Otto Othman, and these are tonight's headlines. 6 perish in Jelapang shophouse fire. 4 more Sabah Umno lawmakers to jump ship. Datuk Sri Najib and Arul Kanda to be charged over 1 MDB audit report. We begin tonight's bulletin with this tragedy in Perak. 6 people died in a fire at a 2-story shop house in Jelapang Maju Industrial Area, Meru in Ipoh today. The fire broke out at the shop at around 1:55 p.m. A State and Fire Rescue Department spokesman said when a team of firemen arrived at the scene, the shop house was already 40% engulfed by flames. Jelapang Settlement Chia Pau Hien said the victims, believed to be all males, were locals. The identities of the victims have yet to be ascertained. Chia was told by members of the public that a loud explosion was heard just before the fire broke out. Based on the signboard at the premises, it ran an event management business which supplied equipment for events such as canopies, PA systems and lightings. In Sarawak, a dog sacrificed itself to save its owner's family from a possible snake attack at their house in Jalan Kejatau, Sri Aman. It was understood that before the incident, a family member was calling for the canine to come home, but there was no response. They then found a 6-meter python constricting their lifeless dog before it slithered into a hole nearby. A 9-member fire and rescue team from the Sri Aman station later arrived and captured the reptile after an hour-long search. The family said if it wasn't because of their pet, the snake might have entered their house and attacked one of them instead. Elsewhere, a 41-year-old woman was killed while her husband was severely injured after they were stabbed by their neighbor in Rawang, Selangor early today. It was learned that the incident occurred at about 6:40 a.m. at Jalan Tengah, Kampung Sungai Terentang. Gombak Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Samsul Maruf said the female victim, who was stabbed on the chest, was identified as Yap Chun Mui. She succumbed to her injuries upon arrival at the Selayang Hospital. Her husband, meanwhile, suffered stab wounds to the stomach in the incident and is still being treated at the hospital. A 49-year-old man has since been detained by police in connection with the case. Authorities are currently investigating the motive of the attack. The case was classified under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. Former One Malaysia Development Berhad, One MDB Group President and Chief Executive Officer Arul Kanda Kanasami was arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) today. He will be charged along with former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Razak at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court tomorrow over the alleged tampering of the Audit General's One MDB report. Arul Kanda's lawyer, Dato' N. Sivarandan, said his client is likely to face a single charge under Section 23 of the MACC Act for abuse of power in relation to the case.
I can now confirm that Arul Kanda has been arrested by MACC and they will be producing him in court tomorrow morning to be charged along with Dato' Sri Najib. I've also been informed that unlike Dato' Sri Najib, they are not going to release him on bail today, and they will keep him overnight and produce him in court tomorrow morning to be charged.
Earlier, both Arul Kanda and his counsel arrived at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya at 9:30 a.m. to facilitate the investigation into the audit report. He was detained about an hour later and was not allowed bail. Meanwhile, former Chief Secretary to the government Tan Sri Ali Hamzah was also spotted entering the MACC building just a few minutes before Arul Kanda. Yesterday, Datuk Sri Najib was arrested at 11 a.m. after being questioned by the MACC on the case, but was released on bail at 1 p.m. the same day. A senior citizen today pleaded not guilty at the Ayakuro Sessions Court on the charge of molesting a child who is also his friend's daughter in Jasin, Malacca last March. Wahid Ramli, aged 62, claimed trial after the charges were read to him before Judge Elizabeth Paya won. The accused, who works as a part-time lorry driver, was alleged to have molested the girl, aged 6 years, 10 months, in a housing area in Sungai Rambai on March 4th. He was charged under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act, which provides a jail sentence of up to 20 years and whipping upon conviction. Wahid was denied bail by the court, which then set January 11th next year for remention of the case. Umno will not stop anyone from leaving the party, but warned that those who did will be quickly replaced. Its party Secretary General Tan Sri Anwar Musa today said Umno does not bind its members and that decisions to leave the party should be done on a personal basis. He was asked to comment on speculation that 4 Umno MPs from Sabah will be leaving the party to become independent and Pakatan Harapan friendly.
Dan Ibu Pejabat Parti tidak berhasrat untuk mengekang ataupun menghalang. Cuma yang dapat saya tegaskan secara resmi ialah barang siapa keluar daripada UMNO, tempatnya serta-merta akan diganti oleh orang lain secara serta-merta dan mereka yang baru akan terus memikul tanggungjawab menghidupkan UMNO di Sabah.
Speaking to reporters at the Parliament lobby, he also dismissed talks that UMNO's Sabah chapter will crumble following the departure of the lawmakers. The Ketere MP said each division in Sabah has up to 20,000 members and only 50 members are needed for a division to continue to exist. Rumors are rife that several lawmakers from Sabah have expressed their intention to leave UMNO, but Tan Sri Anwar said there has been no official notice sent to the headquarters on the matter. He, however, confirmed that he held meetings on a few days ago with a few division leaders from Sabah, including with the State Liaison Chief and UMNO Sabah Secretary. Syndicates selling illicit cigarettes and liquor will face heavier penalties following the government's move to amend the Customs Act and Excise Act effective January next year. The Customs Director General Datuk Sri T. Subramaniam said, among others, a minimum penalty of 100,000 ringgit will be imposed for each carton of illicit cigarettes sold. According to Datuk Sri Subramaniam, the amendments to the laws were passed by the Dewan Rakyat yesterday and then brought before the Dewan Negara. This includes Section 135 of the Customs Act for offences involving smuggling of goods and fraudulent evasion of customs duties. It provides a heavier first-time offence, minimum fine of not less than 10 times the duty value or 100,000 ringgit, whichever is higher, and not more than 20 times the duty value or 500,000 ringgit, whichever is higher, or 5-year imprisonment, or both.
Pindahan ini akan mengukuhkan lagi penalti yang sedia ada. Penalti yang sedia ada ialah kalau kita dakwa kedai-kedai yang menjual rokok haram ataupun minuman keras haram ni, bila sabit kesalahan, hukuman yang dijatuhkan lazimnya ialah 10 kali ganda nilai. 10 kali ganda nilai sebenarnya tak banyak, ya. Dan 10 kali ganda ni kalau 10 karton rokok dalam lengkungan 1,000 lebih je lah, ya. Tetapi dengan pindahan yang terbaru untuk rokok dan minuman keras, denda minima yang akan dikenakan ialah 100,000. Walaupun mereka menjual rokok haram 1 karton atau 1 kotak rokok.
He added that the Customs Department has also tightened regulations on the import of cigarettes by imposing a minimum import limit. Companies with licenses to import the items for 3 years or more will have to import a minimum of 10 million cigarettes a year, while those with licenses with shorter period will have to import a minimum of 5 million cigarettes in a year. Datuk Sri Subramaniam also said the amendments are expected to be enforced beginning January 1st. Earlier today, he officiated the 86th Malaysian Customs Directors meeting held in Subang Jaya, Selangor. Meanwhile, customs officers handling contraband goods will now be monitored closely by an internal task force to clean up the stained image of the department. Datuk Sri Subramaniam said these are among the heavier deterrents taken to curb the smuggling of contraband goods.
Custom bakal menubuhkan satu unit baru yang dikenali sebagai unit siasatan dalaman untuk menangani salah guna kuasa dan rasuah dalam jabatan. Ia akan diletakkan di bawah cawangan integriti jabatan dan kita akan memperkasakan cawangan ini di mana pada hari semalam Seksyen 137 yang berkaitan dengan pengambilan rasuah ataupun memberi rasuah.
It has been reported that contraband items have cost the government losses of up to 4 billion ringgit yearly in excise duty. On to the Dewan Rakyat sitting. The Education Ministry will soon decide whether to continue with the One Bestari Net program in schools. Its Minister, Dr. Mazli Malik, told members of Parliament that this follows a review of the 4 billion ringgit program to spearhead 4G broadband connectivity and virtual learning environments VLE to some 10,000 schools nationwide. According to Mazli, from January to October this year, the ministry had paid 530.3 million ringgit towards the project.
Sebarang pertukaran terhadap pembekalan internet ke seluruh sekolah yang dibekalkan oleh One Bestari Net hanya akan boleh dilakukan selepas tamatnya kontrak yang dimeterai antara One Bestari Net dengan KPM melalui kerajaan dahulu yang mana akan berakhir pada Jun 2019 nanti. Walau bagaimanapun, sama ada hendak ditukarkan ataupun dikekalkan adalah bergantung kepada keputusan kajian jawatankuasa yang saya telah sebutkan tadi. Kita telah mendapat laporan awal daripada MIMOS yang akan dibawa kepada jawatankuasa yang sedang melakukan kajian mereka ini yang akan berakhir pada Januari. Pada Januari mereka akan bentangkan kepada pihak Kementerian Pendidikan dan kita akan membuat keputusan.
One Bestari Net was introduced in 2011 by the ministry under a 15-year project that will cost 4.077 billion ringgit to complete. However, various complaints on the project were highlighted in the Auditor General's report and by the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee in 2013 and 2014. The problems included delays in installing internet services, the lack of a project committee, poor broadband access, and the ministry's failure to properly research schools' needs. The government will introduce a new body of professors free of political interference to replace the disbanded National Professors Council (MPN). Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Muhammad Hanifah Maidin, said members of the body will be chosen based on merit and qualifications, as well as without political inclination. He said the Pakatan Harapan government decided to disband MPN at its first cabinet meeting on May 23rd, as the council was found to be politically slanted towards the previous Barisan Nasional administration. However, he said the government agreed on November 2nd to reinstate the MPN, following appeals to the Council of Eminent Persons in June not to disband it. He noted that MPN was formed in 2010 and was initially placed under the then Ministry of Higher Education, but was transferred under the Prime Minister's Department in 2014. The new body will be placed under the Education Ministry. Coming up next, a Malaysian's gift to his brother melts netizens' hearts. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Malaysia is going for a greener diesel next year. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the use of 10% palm oil biodiesel in Malaysia for vehicles such as four-wheel drive vehicles, lorries and buses will reduce the emission of greenhouse gases by 1.6 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. The Prime Minister said this today when launching the B10 biodiesel program in Putrajaya that will see the fuel comprising 10% palm oil biodiesel and 90% fossil diesel used by all types of diesel vehicles in the transportation sector beginning February 1st, 2019.
Saya juga mengharapkan program biodiesel ini diberikan perhatian serius dalam dasar otomotif kebangsaan yang sedang dirangka oleh Kementerian Perdagangan Antarabangsa dan Industri (MITI) pada ketika ini. Kita seharusnya memastikan pada masa akan datang hanya kenderaan diesel yang boleh menerima biodiesel lebih daripada 10% dijual di Malaysia.
The Premier added the country's biodiesel program would also help the country to achieve its low-carbon mobility objective as outlined in the 11th Malaysia Plan. The B10 program will also contribute to reducing the emission of carbon dioxide by 10% per year from the total number of diesel vehicles in the country. Meanwhile, Primary Industries Minister Teresa Kok said the B10 biodiesel program, which is being implemented in stages since December 1st, will take some time before it can be made mandatory.
We already have a B7, so now we are pushing to B10. So like today, we got the news from Shell. They already started the implementation B10 of biodiesel in one of the Shell petrol stations near to Patuke. So this is good news because it takes some time for the petroleum companies to have B10 biodiesel to be supplied in all the petrol stations.
She also said with the use of B7 diesel to be made mandatory for the industry sector effective July 1st next year and the B10 diesel for the transport sector, the cost of importing diesel could be reduced by up to 1.64 billion ringgit a year. Earlier, Kok had said that the decision to implement both B10 and B7 biodiesel programs was prompted by the positive impacts and benefits to the country's economy, palm oil industry, as well as the environment. She also urged local companies to opt for local palm oil instead of importing cheaper palm oil in a move to help the local smallholders. Malaysia ranked 4th out of 12 Asia-Pacific economies in terms of market accountability and transparency. This according to the recent 2018 CG Watch report published by the Asian Corporate Governance Association. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said the ranking was a significant improvement from 7th place in 2016. Malaysia, he added, was the biggest 2018 gainer among regional rivals, including Australia, China, Hong Kong, Japan and Singapore. Lim also said the rise further proves that the government's continuous efforts to instill the principles of competency, accountability and transparency in its administration is bearing fruit. The biennial CG Watch report stated that the jump was based on optimism over the May 9, 2018 political change in Malaysia, which was translated into tangible improvements to enforcement and reporting. Apart from strong anti-corruption measures currently undertaken, Lim said the government had embraced open tenders in its procurement process more widely. A special purpose vehicle SPV under the Finance Ministry will take over an estimated 19.9 billion ringgit worth of Tabung Haji's TH's underperforming assets. Its Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Datuk Sri Zukri Samad, said Pilgrims Fund Board is targeting to complete the exercise by end of this month. At a media conference today, Datuk Sri Zukri said the assets to be carved out would be identified using two criteria. For properties, it would be those with a yield of less than 2%, and for equities, the value impaired would have exceeded 20%.
So the way it works, basically this way, Tabung Haji will transfer that so-called underperforming asset, amounting to 19.9 billion, to a government-owned SPV, right? So the consideration, the purchase consideration by the SPV for that asset we transfer is basically by paying us not in cash, right? But they will pay via issuance of two instruments. Number one is sukuk, sukuk of 10 billion, and the other balance of 9.9 billion will be in the form of Islamic renewable convertible preference shares, right?
Datuk Seri Zukri added that TH should not be competing with Permodalan Nasional Berhad, but will relook at its asset allocation. He also said the asset transfer will include the land TH bought from 1MDB. Datuk Seri Zukri also noted that measures will be taken to strengthen governance of TH's operations and to refine its business model. Welcome back. Now let's head over to our segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. A Malaysian man known on Facebook as Arthur Tech Air recently shared a heartwarming brotherly love story on his social media page. In the post, Arthur explained that his 32-year-old brother has an intellectual disability due to a car accident that happened when he was still a baby, which affected his brother's mental capacity, akin to that of a 3- or 4-year-old child. Now, despite these challenges, Arthur mentioned that his brother finds great joy in watching Ultraman and Power Rangers dubbed in Malay. And so he decided to surprise his brother with a real one. As a show of love a few weeks ago, Arthur paid a man to dress up in an Ultraman costume and visit his brother, a long-time present he's been intending to give to his sibling. During his visit, Ultraman even joined his brother to watch his favorite show. Arthur also wrote that the experience might not mean anything to normal folks, but to witness his brother having his version of fun for about an hour and a half of his life was just priceless. Arthur also said he is currently planning to bring the Power Rangers to visit his brother next. Arthur also shared how difficult it is now to get the Malay-dubbed DVDs of his brother's favorite superhero series, as many video stores no longer sell these titles. So for the good Samaritans who are able to help him, why not try to reach out to Arthur on his Facebook page. Now, updated as of 7 p.m., here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. More after the break. France's Macron offer rise wage amid violent protest in Paris. Don't go away.